Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Voxcaster. I'm your host, Dan. On this episode, it's one that me and Brian have been waiting for a a little bit too long, but I'm just happy to jump into it. The Drukhari Codex review. Thanks for joining me,
Oh boy, oh
Brian.
boy, oh boy.
Oh, I got up early this morning. I watched Scari's 4.5 hour stream, and I'm just like, it got me so excited that I'm like, we need to find some scans or something because I need to go through this myself just to reread it, go through the combos in my head because
Oh
my
yeah.
God, like this is gonna be just like just pure fun. So what we're gonna do, like before, there's gonna be more than enough information to cover, so we're gonna try to do this up in two separate episodes, depending on how quick we can go through it. Like I said, we'll try to jam as much we can into the first episode, but we'll try to keep it a nice half on. Pretty much, like I said, just so one episode's not super long, the other one be kind of short, depending on how fast we can go. So we're just going to dive right into it and get what we can get done. So we're going to start off right with the detachment abilities. So starting off, one new thing in here that I'm actually kind of excited to really try is the new real space raid. So starting at the very top, a Drukhari detachment is one that only includes models with the Drukhari keyword, excluding models with the unaligned keyword. Drukhari detachments gain raiding forces and Weakling Kin abilities. If your army is battle forged, each Drukhari detachment in your army must be designated as a Cabal detachment, Witch detachment, Homunculus Coven detachment, or a Real Space Raid detachment. Your army can only include one Real Space Raid detachment. Real Space Raid detachments gain the Real Space Raid ability. Troop units and Drukhari detachments gain the Objective Secure, so that's pretty much straightforward. So raiding forces. This is kind of an interesting one that I'm kind of cool with. We are going to start off with an extra 2 command points because the way this one works is for if every detachment in your army is a Drukhari patrol detachment, change the command cost of those detachments to 0 CP. So from my understanding with that is you're not paying anything at all. So because you get the first one for free. Is that how it always was?
For yeah, whatever detachment your warlord was in, you got it for free.
Yeah, no,
But
true enough.
the old book was our rating force was triple patrol, and we could
Yeah.
get it for free. But
Yeah, no,
now I think they changed it around or something. Eh?
well, yeah, because it says if every detachment in your army is a Drukhari Patrol detachment, change the command cost of those detachments to 0 CP. So yeah,
Yeah,
for some reason
because
I read that a little bit too quick, I think, and I was kind of thinking, is like, do we gain CP where we're
well,
not going? But no.
in eighth it would refund us our two CP for having the warlord, and then a rating force would only give us four.
Mm,
So we'd balance out. This is
yeah,
kind of the same thing, to be honest. But
exactly. So yeah, so the way it works, it's essentially you can all Cabal units in a detachment gain Drukhari obsessions, all Witch Cult units in a Witch Cult. Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward there. Going down, so the Weakling Kin. So what this is you cannot include Drukhari and non-Drukhari Eldari units in the same detachment unless all those units have the Yanari keyword, which
rest in
again, it's
peace, Yin
pretty
Karn.
straightforward. What's that?
Rest in peace, Yin Karn and
Uh,
Cat Lady. Can't
but
bring
even
them
at
unless
that,
it's a
like I
Yanari
honestly
detachment
didn't
now.
even use them all that much myself. Every couple games I might have threw in Cat Lady, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm really digging the Yin Karn though. She's such a nice model.
It is. And you know what? Whatever. It was a chance to have some sort of just smite or something or a couple of extra denies without using a relic.
Yeah,
That's essentially all I used her for. So yeah, so essentially real space raid. If a real space raid attachment contains one Archon, one Archon unit as your warlord, one Succubus unit, and one Homunculus unit, and at least one Warriors unit, one Witch unit, and at least one Rack unit. All units, excluding Blades for Hire units, which we'll go through a little bit later on, unless otherwise specified in that detachment, gain a Drukhari Obsession, as well as gaining Drukhari Obsessions for each Cabal, Witch Cult, and Homunculus Coven units in Real Space Raid detachments. You can also select the associated Cabal, Witch, or Homunculus relics for the units in the detachment, even though your Warlord is not from a Witch Cult or a Homunculus Coven. And then all units in a Real Space Raid detachment gain the Real Space Raiders keyword, and you can replace your Warlord's Overlord ability with the following ability: Raid Mastermind. While a friendly Real Space Raider core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time an attack is made by a model in that unit, reroll a hit roll of 1. So that like essentially you got an Archon, your Racks, your Covens, your Witches, everything is re-rolling based off your Archon, which fluff-wise makes a lot of sense. You have your Archon that's running the whole entire raid, and
Yeah,
everybody
it's
works underneath
Supreme
him.
Leader.
Exactly. But no, I think this raiding force would be a lot of fun. You'll honestly like I'm looking at like because again I've gone through this already, and I'm looking at a lot of the other covens and cabals and stuff. It's I think they're a little too good to want to start mixing stuff up, but again that's for later in the
Yeah.
episode.
I have a feeling I'm going to be playing my Coven a bit more.
I got to dabble a little bit into it. It's the one thing I don't own any of right now, which yeah, slow and steady I'll be getting there. But if you want to take over for the next one, we're gonna go to Lords of Camara.
So Lords of Camara. If your army is battle forged and includes any Drukhari detachments excluding auxiliary support, super heavy auxiliary, or fortification network detachments, then when you muster your army, you can upgrade one of the following Drukhari character units, excluding named characters, from each detachment in your army. Archon, Succubus, Homunculus. If the detachment is a real space raid detachment, you can upgrade one Archon, one Succubus, and one Homunculus unit from that detachment. Make a note on your army roster each time you upgrade a unit using these rules. Each upgraded unit also gains an additional keyword as described below. An upgraded Archon unit gains the Master Archon keyword and the Splintered Genius Cabalite Diversion opposite. An upgraded Succubus unit gains the Master Succubus keyword and the Show Stealer Witch Cult Spectacle opposite. An upgraded Homunculus unit gains Master Homunculus keyword and the Alchemical Maestro Homunculus Proclivity opposite.
Yeah.
Pulling some Dans here.
See, that's why I let you take over this page.
Yeah. Each time you upgrade one of the aforementioned units, its power rating is increased as shown in the table below. If you are playing a match play game or a game that uses points limit, then the points value increases by the amount in the table, which would be 15 for your Splintered Genius, 15 for Show Stealer, and 20 for the Homunculus Alchemical Maestro. A Crusade Force cannot start with any upgraded character units. To include one in a Crusade Force, you must use the Lord of the Dark City requisition.
But that's going into Crusade, so that's a whole other thing.
A whole other ball game. Cabalite Diversion. So the Splintered Genius is once per battle at the end of the fight phase. If this model is within engagement range of any enemy units, it can fight again.
Which can be huge because
that's going to be scary on Archon with a
because
Degen Blade.
Yeah, and also like there's a couple more combos you can actually do, and like,
well,
man,
you can get him up to 14 attacks, -3/3 flat. Like he's gonna murder something.
Oh no, ridiculous! Like he's gonna do a lot. He still has his 2-up invuln save, and there's other ways to give him like extra. So if you're anything like me and you fail on the first 1 or 2, then you gotta have a little bit of a backup plan.
Yeah. Relics and Warlord Traits. You can give Master Archon model of Cabalite Diversion the Soul Helm Relic instead of giving them an Artifact Cruelty Relic. In addition, you can give them a Consummate Weapon Master Warlord Trait instead of giving them another Warlord Trait. The Soul Helm is the bearer has the following abilities. Each time an attack is made that targets the bearer, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. And each time the bearer would lose a wound, it's got a 5-up Feel No Pain.
That's huge. Again, he's a beat stick. You get him into close combat, you subtract 1 to hit, and he gets that Feel No Pain because again, once we get to it, but from the power from pain, that's one thing that a couple people are kind of hum and hawing is because yes, we did lose our Feel No Pain, but we got an invuln. But the one thing I have been noticing is there's a lot of ways to get that Feel No Pain back through other means. And some other units still have them built in, but it's not going to be that one thing that everybody gets anymore.
The next Warlord Trait, Consummate Weapon Master. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of all melee weapons this Warlord is equipped with, excluding relics.
Again, he's just a big old beat stick.
Which one did that go on to? I don't remember. Was that Homunculus as well?
For what stat, sorry?
The Warlord Trait.
No, this one right here is just for the Archon itself. So this right here is all Archon, then Succubus and Homunculus is going to have their own.
Yeah, so we can make him pretty scary.
Oh, big time.
And then for the Witch Cults, Show Stealer. Each time model makes a consolidation move, it can move an additional 3 inches, and it does not have to finish this move closer to the closest enemy model. So that's a great in and out, kill something and run.
No, it's true because like there's other ways too. I do believe you can eventually get it up to a 6 inch. So the big thing with this, and a lot of people might not realize, is you pop in, you attack. Before your opponent attacks back, you can do your consolidation. But if you're going away from the unit, then you're out of engagement range, so they don't get to attack you back. That's going to be the huge thing right there.
Yep. Other relics and warlord traits. You can give Master Succubus model with the Switch Cult Spectacle the Dancer's Edge relic, instead of giving them the regular relic. In addition, you give them the Whirling Death Warlord trait instead of giving them another Warlord trait. So Dancer's Edge would be a model equipped with an Arc-Light Glaive. This relic replaces the glaive and has the following profile. It's a strength +2, AP -4, 2 flat. And each time an attack is made with this weapon, on an unmodified wound roll of a 6, invulnerable saves cannot be taken against the attack.
That's
pretty interesting.
That's nice. And especially like with the Arc-Light Glaive, it's usually, if I remember correctly, -1 to hit. So you're negating that by upgrading it, which is nice. So you're still going to be hitting on 2s, and
she'll murder stuff. That's typical succubus stuff.
Yeah, but no, again, as we go on, there's ways to have a succubus charge in, and I think if the math does me right, if you give all the combos, it's like 12 attacks. So you're potentially dealing out 24 damage if done right.
Mm-hmm.
It's mental.
The Warlord trait for the Witch Cult Swirling Death. Each time this Warlord fights after any pile-in moves, until that fight is resolved, you can choose for its attacks characteristic to be equal to 3 plus the number of enemy models that are within 2 inches of it.
So that's 2 inches.
Yeah, that's
so. And again, like, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but again, there's ways to make her want to do front flips into middle of a unit. Get purposely surrounded by 10 guys. So I think her base attacks are something like 6 or 7. And then now you measure every model within 2 inches, you gain that many more attacks. And then you go back to the other ability, then you jump away and then be like, oh, unit's either dead or you can't touch me because I'm gone.
She's going to be a beast in combat.
Yeah, I got to buy like 3 of them.
Yeah, I need to get a succubus for myself, I think. Homunculus, the alchemical maestro. Once per battle, when this model is destroyed, you can choose to roll 1d6 at the end of the phase instead of using any rolls that are triggered when this model is destroyed. If you do so, then on a 2-up, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where they were destroyed, but not within engagement range of any enemy models with D3 wounds remaining. So they became Gilliman.
Pretty much. And honestly, I think they're up to 6 wounds, and then there's ways to get them up to 7 wounds, and they're healing every turn.
Yeah.
Oh man, just everything in this codex is just making me happy.
I'm glad I have 2 of them. Relics and Warlord traits. The Relic Poisoner's Ampule. Once per battle at the end of your movement phase, the bearer can use a relic. If it does so, select one enemy unit within 9 inches of the bearer. Roll 1d6. On a 2-up, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Until the start of your next turn, any aura abilities that unit has no effect.
Okay. See, already right there, and this is my main thing. And I always go to Death Guard and that stupid putrefier shut off everything. Yeah. Have them pop up, be like, no, and now all your Death Shroud Terminators are now dead. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Kier. Take that. The next point was, until the start of your next turn, that unit cannot be affected by any aura abilities of friendly models. So you can either shut off aura abilities or just make it so that unit doesn't get affected by them.
Exactly.
It's pretty cool. I like it. It's too bad it's a once per battle thing, so it's going to be very situational.
It is, but I mean, like I said, there's going to be some times that again, I'm just going to bring up Death Guard because that's kind of the big one right now. Like, especially anything that makes you fight last. All you need to do is shut that off for 1 turn to be able to get in there, kill the unit that's honestly going to be the biggest threat to you, consolidate into him to be able to take that character out, and then chances are that's going to be the biggest threat.
Overwatch is going to hurt, but I guess if you use the Homunculus...
We're going to keep reading. We're going to keep reading, Brian.
We're going to keep reading. Mask still, so... Warlord Trait, Twisted Animator. In your command phase, you can select one friendly rack unit within 3 inches of this warlord. D3 destroyed models can be added back to the unit. These models can be set up within engagement range of enemy models that are already within engagement range of that unit. So that's nice. I
No, like
like
I
it.
say, it's a way to keep bringing some racks back because unfortunately, your favorite
Yeah,
stratagem is
yeah.
no longer.
I'm gonna miss it. Gonna miss it a lot.
But moving on, so favorite retinues. This makes me happy because there's a unit that I used to love playing. They got
Oh,
kind of decanned in 8th edition. They're
I
coming
never.
back, not in the same way, but still are going to be a nice little upgrade. So essentially, if your army includes Master Archon, Master Succubus, Master Homunculus unit, you can also use the upgrade listed below. Each time you upgrade one of these units, its power rating is increased as shown on the table below. If you are playing a match play game, so on and so forth, as we can see. So where are we at here? So Trueborns are back. So the way these are going to work is for each Master Archon. So you need to have an Archon, obviously, in your unit. One Calibite warriors in the same detachment can be upgraded to a Calibite Trueborn. So you can only have a maximum size of 10, and that's going to be kind of the recurring thing here. Is you're not going to be able to have like a big 20-man blob of them, but still a 10-man unit, and then they gain the Trueborn keyword. What this gives them is models in this unit has a ballistic skill of 2 plus instead of a 3. You add 1 to the leadership characteristic of models in the unit, and each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack, you can ignore any or all hit roll and ballistic skill modifiers, which is huge. So essentially, like I said, you got Dark Lances moving, hitting on 3s rather than 4s just because of the extra +1. Extra leadership is always good to have. Or actually, no, you ignore all and hit roll ballistic skill modifier. So I think that would take away if you have like Dark Lances and stuff like that. They wouldn't suffer. I think it's Dark Lances on 2s.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's
Yeah,
why a lot of people were hyped up about this.
yeah, because the only thing that makes me sad is obviously everybody knows what Trueborn unit used to be. Essentially, it was the specialist unit. You would have a 5-man blaster unit, a 5-man shredder unit. So you still can't do that. But in a 10-man unit, you can still get 2 blasters and a dark lance. And if you're having those 3 things hitting on 2s, it's going to be nice.
Well,
That's all I'm going to
especially
say.
those lances, D3 plus 3 damage, like strength 8
Mm,
minus 4 AP. Like
big time, and
they're gonna
especially now
kill some stuff.
riding in a raider, and the dark kin has answered my prayers. 6 transport venoms, 11 transport raiders.
Yeah,
Finally, after
we can
how
finally
long?
put our HQs in them.
Oh my god. So, but that's what I mean.
Deliver
You
the
have an
bomb.
Archon and a 10-man unit of Trueborn flying around in a raider.
Yeah, but the Archon's auras and stuff still don't affect inside
No, but whenever
the
they drop out,
transport
at
stuff.
least they're all going to be coming out at the same time. So
It's
their
going to be
auras will be
fun
given.
because I can drop 10 Incubi into a Raider with Drazar. I don't have to bring my Tantalus now.
I mean, you're still going to bring it, but you don't
I'm
have
still gonna.
to.
I don't have to. It's not a requirement.
Exactly. But no, so going down, so of course for witches, you have the blood brides. So again, you need to have for each master succubus or the Hesperax, you can have a unit going. So essentially what they gain here, same thing, except instead of a ballistic skill, the weapon skill goes to 2 plus 1 to leadership. And each time an attack made by a model in this unit would trigger the Blade's Artisan ability, the armor penetration characteristic of that attack is increased by 3 instead of 1. So I'm kind of going to just jump down a little bit. So for anybody that doesn't know exactly what Blade Artisans is on any unmodified, I want to say hit rolls, I could be wrong, or it could be wound rolls, but it's on a 6. And what it does, it grants you +1 AP on your weapons. So what this one does is your Witch Brides on a 6 will actually be AP -3 added to whatever the weapon's AP value is there. So I think there's like base witch stuff like that could be like -1. So you're running in, you're fishing for 6s, and gonna be like -4. It's gonna be ridiculous.
It was an unmodified wound roll of 6, improved the armor pen by 1.
Okay, so it is wound roll. I couldn't remember if it was wound or hits, but
Yeah.
that's going to be huge. Like witches, I have 30 or 40 of them. I use them every once in a while, but I'm like, man, I think witches, cult strife, they're going to see a lot of play with this book.
Yeah.
And then for the coven, I'm going to butcher this word, but hey, Hamoxites.
That's the way I'm saying it.
All right, fair enough. So again here, so Master Homunculus or Urian. So again, just 10-man unit strongs. Improve the unit's save characteristics and invulnerable saves by 1, which is nice. So to a maximum of 4. Again, +1 leadership. And once per phase, the first time a saving throw is failed for that unit, the damage characteristic of the attack is changed to 0. Like that's different. I've never seen that.
That's
So the
a
first
lot
time.
different.
But with that being said, so I'm assuming you're going to have to roll all your saves one at a time, which is going to be a little tedious. But the first time it fails, it still doesn't go through, but it's the next fail that's going to go through and start dealing damage, from my understanding.
It's also once per phase, and it doesn't specify that it's in the shooting or the fight phase. So even psychic, if you get smite and say you're taking those mortal wounds, I'm wondering if the damage just happens, or
It is because
is psychic classified as an attack? That's going to be the question there.
again, it'll come down to the actual wording, because the first time a saving throw is failed, and where they do emphasize on armor and invuls, I'm gonna say that feel no pains are not going to be counted as. But again, leave in a comment section if you know the wording properly. And like I said, maybe we're not like reading it properly, but hey, maybe it is. Let us know if we're right,
like,
wrong.
Turning a flat 6 to 0 on a 1 wound rack doesn't really matter.
No, but I mean, hey.
It's just less feel no pains, I guess. But
Exactly. But no, so the way this works, so essentially to upgrade any of those, you're essentially looking for +2 points per model. So you're looking at essentially 20 points to upgrade units.
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day, to get all these extras, like I'll pay the extra 20 points for a 10-man unit, hands down. And keep in mind, it's only one unit that can be upgraded.
Zip around, so.
Exactly, because it's an extra 20 points for one single unit in the whole entire thing. So it's not like you're going to be getting 2 Trueborn units. So, which I'd still pay the 40 points to have 2 or 3 or more. So if you want to take over for the Cabals, Cults, and Covens.
Does this all get skipped, this one? Trying to skim through it real quick here.
Oh.
Whatever, I'll read through it. Cabal, Witch Cult, and Homunculus Coven Obsessions. All of those above units, including Urian Rakarth and Lilith Hesperax units, with his ability gain a Drukhari Obsession. The obsession gained depends upon which Cabal, Witch Cult, or Homunculus Coven they are from, as shown in the following pages. If the Cabal, Witch Cult, or Homunculus Coven unit is from the Cabals, Witch Cults, or Homunculus Covens named in this section, you must use the specified Drukhari obsession.
So we can skip this because it's essentially just kind of giving examples of all the
just kind of telling you how they work.
Yeah,
basically.
But I mean, it all works pretty much the same way from the last codex. So, and a lot of them, like, they're all the exact same Cabals, all the same witch cults, with some differences. Yep. But yeah, we'll just jump right into the Black Heart.
Yep, Cabal of the Black Heart. Their obsession is thirst for power. Units with this obsession that have the power from pain ability treat the current battle round as being 1 higher than it actually is when determining the effects of that. So
that stays the same.
Turn 1, you still get your 6-up feel no pain now, or 6-up invul now.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and then you can advance
to invul.
Advance and charge turn 2.
That's
which
the big
would be
one.
Turn 1 on Cabal, but I don't really want to fight with Cabal. That's my Witcher Coven job. If a real space raid detachment includes Cabal of the Black Heart Archon, then until the end of the battle, all blades for higher units that in that detachment have the power from pain ability also treat the current battle round as 1 turn higher.
Okay, so stop right. Yeah, I was going to say stop right there because we need to concentrate on what you just said. Because before, so in case anybody doesn't know exactly what blades for hire are, we're talking incubi, we're talking scourges, we're calling mandrakes. Actually, if I remember correctly, beast packs and masters, I think, have it too. Yeah. I'll have to check to make sure, but so the fact that we are finally going to be able to get power from pain on these guys is huge. I am so pumped to give like these units that never got any bonuses.
Scourges already get a 5-up invul, so that doesn't matter for turn 1 or turn 3 now. But
incubi,
advance and charge incubi like, turn 1. That's
ridiculous. Even mandrakes can still like screw some stuff up pretty bad.
So I'd set my raider up pretty much on the deployment line, disembark for the 3 inches, move them or advance them, and then charge you. So I can get some distance now with them Incubi, which is really
And
interesting.
Incubi became probably one of the biggest MVP units for upgrade wise in this book.
Oh,
It just
they're
it's
gonna be
so
marine blenders, like.
hands down.
That's why I bought a Tantalus in 15, so I can run 15 with Drazar, but I can just do this now on foot. Still going to die real fast, but it's going to be good. The other point in this obsession is add one to the leadership characteristic models with this, and each time a unit with this obsession is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll one hit roll when resolving that unit's attacks.
Like I said, it's
Those are meh, but
it's man.
I'm,
It's just
I'm more excited about the Blades for Hire.
hands down. That's the biggest upgrade there altogether.
Warlord Trait, Labyrinth, Cunning. While this
Stays
Warlord
the
on the
same thing,
battlefield, each time your opponent spends a command point, you roll a d6. On a 6, you gain the command point.
You know what?
Um,
I'll take that any day of like I always give that Warlord trait to an Archon. It's just nice to be able
Yeah,
to
but
get
the
that
Warlord
other.
Trait used to be the reroll, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was. I thought it was a 2-part Warlord Trait.
No, Labyrinth Cunning was always this way,
Yeah.
and it was always a Warlord trait because I would give it. I think it was
I
just
kind
kind
of
of like
stopped
another.
taking it in 9th, so I don't really remember.
Yeah, no, it was just the ability to get the rerolls, but I think that's just based on the Archon himself.
Yeah. The Relic, rid of the Living Muse. Cabal, Blackheart, Archon only. The bearer has the following ability. While a friendly Cabal, the Blackheart core unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll 1. If the bearer is a real space raider unit, this ability also affects Blades for Hire.
Yeah, see, like that's the one thing there I don't like. It's just like to do the Blades for Hire has to be the real space raider. So I'm just like, just give it to us all together. Come on, just make them
Then
all
for our
part.
biggest nerf, the
You know what?
biggest nerf for us.
It's a big nerf, but in the
It
right
really is,
hands, it
but
could be used properly.
and that's the thing. Once we play this a bit more and we figure out which strats this really hurts, is where it's going to really count. But Agents of Vect went to a 0 CP strat instead of the 4 CP that it was. But we no longer cancel out the strat. Basically, we just use the stratagem after your opponent uses stratagem, excluding command reroll until the end of the battle. The CP cost your opponent must pay to use the stratagem again is increased by 1. The stratagem can only be used once. So against my Slanesh demons or something, where I'm going to use Warp Surge a lot for 2 CP, that happens the first time I use it, but the next phase or whatever I want to use it, it's going to turn to 3 CP. And as a demons player, I start with like 4 or 5 CP.
Yeah,
and it's going to make transhuman go to 2, which means those late game transhumans are going to go off, or even your deny or your counter offensive strat or whatever to interrupt instead of 2 CP goes to 3 CP the next time you want to use it. Like
because the only thing it can't touch is command reroll, which okay I can get behind. The only thing I do wish that like I get it's 0 CP is just it should
no
take an
longer
effect
limited. It used to be limited that if your Archon was gone, you couldn't use it.
Yeah. But no, yeah, as long as there's something from the Cabal of the Black Heart. But I kind of just wish it was one of those things is the
When
second you use it, it kicks in right away. That's the only thing I wish.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see it in FAQ or something in errata, but I don't know. It still works. It's just you're going to get hit with that first time, but the second combo is going to be a little harder to pull off.
The first time, this is a warning for going forward.
All right. You're not going to use that anymore.
So I'll jump to the next one. So the Cabal of the Poison Tongue. So the obsession is the Serpent's Kiss. Each time a model with this obsession makes an attack with a poison weapon, improve the poison weapon ability of that weapon by 1 to a maximum of 2+. So poison weapon 4+ becomes a 3+. So just your basic warriors, essentially that'd be poison 4 up, you're now wounding on 3s. To take that against like Morty, Magnus, and all that stuff, I'd be happy to hit them on 3s or wound them on 3s any day.
Oh yeah. I think that's going to be the Cabal that I'm probably going to run. Like I'm not one for Cabal. I like my Covens more.
Yeah.
But, I like the 3-up poison weapons and 2-up on some stuff, and to be able to wound those tough 8 guys is going to be beautiful.
No, big time. And the next point for the obsession is if an enemy unit has any models destroyed by an attack made with a poison weapon by models in this obsession, Until the end of the turn, subtract 1 from combat attrition test taken from the enemy unit, which can be good. I mean, like, because like
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot of leaderships that are only 7 or 8, and so you start killing a couple of guys, you minus it by 1. It's
And
it's
then it's like
nothing super great, but
ones
still
and
nice.
twos now run away.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then once you
Uh,
go through half the unit, it's like 1 to 3, they run away.
So the Warlord trait is Towering Arrogance. Each time the Warlord loses a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll a d6 on a 5+. The wound is not lost, so another way to get your feel no pain. And this Warlord has the following ability: Towering Arrogance Aura. While a friendly Cabal of the Poison Tongue unit is within 6 inches of the Warlord, each time a combat attrition test is taken for that unit, ignore any or all modifiers.
So
So it's
we can
kind of
play
like,
chess, Dan.
yeah,
We'll both run this Cabal of the Poison Tongue. We'll play chess.
yeah, just
You're -1 to your combat attritions. No, I'm not.
not anymore. So the Relics Soul Seeker, and I laugh at this, and I was listening to like Scari's cast or stream earlier, and it's like pistols. Why do you push pistols so much? Nobody ever uses it. I don't think I've ever taken a Relic
Especially
pistol.
this one, a strength 2 pistol.
Yeah, I mean it's a poison 2 up, so I mean strength 2 means nothing. Like so, it's because so you're still gonna be wounding on
Yes.
2s. But it's, I don't know. I can see it. So yeah, so it's a Poison Tongue Archon equipped with a Splinter Pistol only. The Relic replaces just the Splinter Pistol. So it's a range 18 inches, a pistol 2. So like Brian said, strength 2, AP -2, D3 damage. It is Poison Weapon 2+, so you are wounding on 2 ups. Each time you select a target for this weapon, you can ignore the Lookout Sir rule. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, the target does not receive the benefits of cover against the attack. So again, it's like
That's an 18-inch range, though. That could be a good sniper.
it is, but I
I still
mean,
feel blast pistols better, just that strength 8 -4d6. But
yeah, but I mean, you're not sniping with a blast pistol. Here, you get a chance. You're doing minimum 2 damage.
it's a lot better when a custode biker or something like that fucking comes at you and you hit him with a blast pistol.
Yeah, just square blank right to the face.
Yeah, get out of
And then further stratagem, it's Insidious Misdirection. Use the stratagem at the start of the first battle round. Select up to 3 Cabal the Poison Tongue units from your army and redeploy them. If the mission uses a strategic reserve rule, any of those units can be placed into reserves without having to pay any additional CP, regardless of how many units are already in reserves. If both players have abilities that redeploy units, roll off, the winner chooses who redeploys their units first. That can be huge
This is a big one for
because
us because we didn't have any of that redeploy stuff, and that stuff's been becoming clutch in the new edition. You bait someone to deploying somewhere, and then you just pick up and go to the other flank.
and what I
Especially
like
on a
about it,
glass army like this.
yeah, and especially it says you use it at the start of the battle round. So you're using this after you find out who actually goes first.
Yeah.
So that's the huge thing right there. So you can reposition them to get more aggressive or more defensive if you're going second. Hide them behind that wall or
Just leave them in the reserves, go later.
yeah, well, yeah, no,
I don't
there's
like
a
your
lot.
gun line.
But that's the thing. It gives you a lot of options here to really reassess what the table is going to look like after knowing if you're going first or second. So that's what I mean. Like the Poison Tongue definitely is. I'm still going to be using Blackheart. It's just one of those things I've always used it, but I think Poison Tongue will definitely have. You're going to see a lot of play with it. But that's not the safe. I find Flayed Skull kind of
That one reached out to me in 8th as well, though.
yeah.
Yeah. Before the
But
new book. I'm like,
yeah, but no, I the only thing is I find Flayed Skull after reading it kind of got like the shit end of the stick. I'll let
Yeah.
you take it over and read it, and then yeah, we can kind of compare with what it used to be.
The obsession is Slay from the Skies. Each time a model with this obsession that can fly or that is embarked upon a transport unit that can fly makes a ranged attack, that target does not receive the benefits of light cover or against this attack. Add 2 inches to the move characteristic of vehicle units with this obsession. So our Venoms get faster and we ignore light cover, but with the new 9th rules, there's heavy cover and stuff like that too now. So
But the only thing is,
before
it used to be 3 inches
just
though.
any cover.
Yeah, but it add 2. It used to be 3. Why did it take? I know the boards got smaller, so it doesn't
It
feel
did.
as bad. But it's just like it was 3. Just let us keep that 3.
Yeah, I'm not upset about it though.
Eh.
I would have preferred if it was like all cover, but whatever. Light cover will have to do.
Mm.
The Warlord Trait, Famed Savagery. Add 1 to this Warlord's strength and attacks characteristics. So again, you can make a scary Archon.
Yeah.
Relic, the Obsidian Veil. So when your Archon fails your 2-up Shadow
And
Field,
this is what I was
you get
saying a
your
little bit
4-up back.
earlier. Yeah. But no, I mean,
Trips.
like, I don't know. I find it's like the only thing that this is actually good for is to give yourself a nice beefy Archon, but that's it. It's the
Yeah.
only thing I can honestly
I
see
still
you
feel like
take.
the Master Archon's still going to be better, but
Yeah.
the stratagem they get is Masters of the Shadowed Sky for 1 CP. Use this stratagem when you select this Cabal the Flayed Skull unit from your army and shoot with until the end of the phase. Each time that unit makes an attack that targets a unit that can fly, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. If the target is an aircraft unit, add 2 to the attack's hit roll instead. So that kind of negates out the -1 to hit that most flyers and aircrafts have.
Oh yeah. Well, you're actually getting to the attack. You're getting +2, so you're actually going to be hitting it even better now.
Yeah.
Which again,
On
it's
its
good.
air.
It's a CP. It's a 1 CP, but I don't think I would take Flayed Skull over any of the other ones just
Yeah.
for this.
I mean, there was definitely more write-up on Blackheart and Poison Tongue than there is on Flayed Skull and Obsidian Rose. So
there's
I feel like
reasons.
the other two are better.
But the next one is the Obsidian Rose. So essentially, the Obsession, the Flawless Workmanship. Add 6 inches to the range characteristics of all assault, rapid fire, and heavy weapons, excluding relics, with this Obsession. So that stays the same. Each time the unit with this Obsession is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 rune roll when making the unit's attack. So that's new, which is nice, because before all it gave you was the increased 6 inches. So having to reroll that 1, like, hey, on lances, just to being able to reroll 1, it's huge.
I screwed up my Dark Lance roll, so I'm just going to reroll this.
Exactly.
And you're going to eat these D3 plus 3 wounds, and you're going to like it.
I think you're going to see a lot more lances now coming around.
Oh, 100%. Disintegrator's still good, but
oh yeah,
they went to heavy 3, though.
Yeah, but again, like vehicles don't suffer the movement for heavy. The only thing is it's going to be affecting a lot of the infantry and stuff like that. Because again, I used to load blasters on everything right now, but at the end of the day, besides point cost, this and that, it's like, is it worth taking a blaster over a lance now? Because they're both heavy and you're guaranteed at least 3 damage on a lance, more range. But I mean, like, that's stuff that we can get into much later on.
Yeah.
But for the Warlord trait is Deathly Professionus. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of weapons this Warlord is equipped with, excluding relics. So give him a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, it's no fun. Jishin Blade's the best relic there is. So
yeah. But then again, you throw in a Husk Blade or a Venom Blade or something like that.
Yeah, it's still decent, but I like the damage from the Dijin Blade better.
Yeah, but then until it eats your soul and then you start taking wounds. But yeah.
Yeah.
But then also going down right here, so the relic is the Armor of Misery. Essentially, Cabal of the Obsidian Rose Archon only. The bearer has a save characteristic of a 3+, so you can get an armor save of 3 up. And each time a melee attack is made against the bearer, subtract 1 from the attack hit roll, which is not bad. It'll keep them alive a little bit more. But
I can choose not to use my 2-up invul and take it on the 3-up armor.
No, but you know what? At the end of the day, because I think in Archon, I want to say only had like a 5-up. Unless it changed, like I said, we'll have to look a little bit later on.
I think it was 5-up or 6-up.
But you know what? Having a 3-up armor save, like, you're going to fail that 2-up. At least it gives you something. So
Archon had a 5-up.
Okay, so you know what? A 3-up armor save, like, it's better than nothing. But
yep.
And then further stratagem. Its failure is not an option. Use the stratagem after taking combat attrition tests for a Cabal of the Obsidian Rose unit from your army, but before any models flee. You can shoot with each model that would flee. If the unit is within engagement range of any enemy units, each model that would flee can instead make 1 melee attack. If any models that are destroyed by the attacks, no models flee from this unit. So, situational, only 1 CP. If I had it, I would definitely use it. I mean, why not? If a unit's going to...
I would probably do the shooting thing, because I don't think you're going to kill anything in melee with a warrior, but...
No, but I mean, if you're stuck in close combat, but, like, that's the thing, though. You need to kill something.
Yeah.
So, like, it all depends on, like, Is it doable? Is it not? Because essentially, I just want to reread this to make sure each model that would flee. So you're only attacking with the models that would be fleeing. So it's not the whole unit. So if 3 guys are fleeing, you're only going to get to shoot or close combat with those 3 guys. So like, are you going to be able to kill a model from that unit from those 3 to not run? So is it like a waste of a CP? At least it's just 1 CP. If it was like 2 CP or something, I wouldn't. No. Yeah. But no, it's not bad. But at the end of the day, yeah, like obviously the first 2 has so much more between the Poison Tongue and Blackheart. So you're definitely going to see a lot more play out of those 2, in my opinion. You're still going to see play with the other ones, I mean, but I don't think as much. Yeah. But another thing that's here, which is kind of nice that they kind of carried over from
Psychic Awakening.
Psychic Awakening is you can still make your own Cabals. So essentially the way this works is the same way. There's going to be, I do believe, 1 or 2 that essentially is, it's called all-consuming, which you're only allowed to choose the one. But if it's not all-consuming, you can choose any 2 to make kind of like your mixed Cabal. So if you want to take this one, Brian, starting off with Dark Mirth.
Yeah, Dark Mirth. Units with this obsession have the following ability. It's an aura while it's within 12 inches of this unit. Each time an enemy unit is selected to make a normal move, advance, fall back, or selected to charge, roll 1d6. On a 5-up, that enemy suffers a mortal wound. Deadly Deceivers, which is all-consuming, meaning you can only take that one. Units with this obsession are eligible to shoot in a turn in which they fell back, but if they do, then until the end of the turn, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, subtract 1 from that attack's hit roll.
You know what? That's good, because at this end of the day, like I said, it's like you're finding yourself falling back a lot more to kind of reposition yourself, and just to still be able to shoot. It's -1, yeah, but whatever. At least you can still shoot before they come back at you, type thing.
Still not gonna trump Blackheart or.
Oh God, no! Like else. Especially for being an all-consuming, like this, honestly,
I can't choose the second effect. Like, come on. Disdain for lesser beings. Each time a combat attrition test is taken for a unit with this obsession, add 1 to the combat attrition test, which is nice. Merciless Razorkin. Each time a model with this obsession makes an attack with a splinter weapon, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores an additional hit.
That I like that because, like I said, splinter weapon is just your basic.
We have a lot of shots with splinters, so. Torturous Efficiency. Each time a model with this obsession makes an attack with a ranged weapon on an unmodified wound roll of 6, improve the armor pen by 1.
So like just right there, you team like those 2
together. Yes, with the poison weapons. So you're scoring additional hits, and now your poison weapons are -1 AP or -2. I think poison actually got a minus on their AP, didn't they?
Have to double check to make sure. I don't think they did, but yeah.
Another obsession for Cabals is Mobile Raiders. Add 2 inches to add 2 inches to the move characteristic of models with this obsession that can fly. So it just gets you around the board quicker. Soulbound. Each time a model with this obsession would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll a d6. On a 5-up, it's not lost.
Yeah, no, Splinter Rifle still just AP 0.
Okay. That sucks. I thought it must have been Witches that went to -1 on their weapons.
Yeah, Witches got -1 to it, but still, hey, whatever.
That's what I was thinking. Toxin Crafters is an all-consuming one again. Each time a model with this obsession makes an attack with a poison weapon, an unmodified hit roll of a 6, change that attack's poison weapon ability to poison weapon that wounds on a 2-up. That's really cool. Each time a model with this obsession makes an attack with a poison weapon, reroll wound roll 1.
So altogether, it's an amazing one. But again, I'm not going to take that over Blackheart or anything. I don't know.
I might gamble with it. I mean, mass splinter fire.
Oh yeah, just run 100 warriors or something like that, and yeah.
Like, I'm gonna wound Mortarion on a 2 and reroll 1s.
Hey, why not?
Twisted Hunters. Each time a model with this obsession makes an attack against a character unit, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. Webway Raiders. Each time you use the Webway Portal strat, which is when we can just put a unit in Deep Strike. If any units with this obsession are selected, reduce the command point cost of that strat by 1.
Which is good. Like I said, we'll go through that once we get to the strats, but I do believe it's like 2 or 3, but just being able to -1, saving you a couple of command points at the beginning of the game.
It's usually based on power level, I think, because grotesques were cheap.
Yeah. So going forward, I'll jump onto this one. So which cult starting off? So right off the bat, Cult of Strife, holy crap, they're good. But one thing that we're probably going to do a little bit later on, we won't have a chance on this episode, but it's the new Book of Rust that came out, has a whole section for just Cult of Strife. And the stratagems that come out of there, if you guys get a chance and you can get like some screenshots or something of it, but my God, do they make Cult of Strife ridiculously good. Like you're gonna see a Cult of Strife patrol or battalion like hands down every time you're playing somebody. But starting off with just their basic stuff, so their obsession is the spectacle of murder. At the start of the fight phase, if a unit with this obsession is within engagement range of an enemy unit, it can fight first that phase. So that's going to be huge, especially like I said, on turns where it's like your opponent's turn and you, or yeah, no, that's true because like your opponent,
Slanesh.
yeah.
And not only that, you get to reroll everything on me because I'm Slanesh.
But this is the huge thing now. It's like if you're already stuck in combat, your opponent gets to attack you first.
Yeah.
So at least if the witches are there, they're holding a unit, you're still going to be attacking first.
Especially with their no escape ability and all that stuff they got in.
So. Yeah, definitely. Next point here for is each time you declare a charge for a unit with this obsession, if there is no other units from your army within engagement range of any of the enemy units selected as targets of that charge, add one to the charge roll.
Yeah, I like it.
No, definitely solid stuff right there. Because like I said, it's just anything to get the charge. But like I said, it's each time you declare a charge unit with obsession, if there is no other units from your army within engagement range. So you got to make sure it's the first unit that's charging, you're going to get the +1, but then you don't get it for the other guys.
Yeah, but as long as it's that unit that you're charging, right? Each time you declare a charge for a unit with this obsession, if there is no other units from your army within engagement range of any of the enemy units selected as targets of that charge.
Okay. Yeah, so you're going to definitely get the one unit into that one, but if you're looking to charge multiple units...
You got like 3 squads of witches in a battalion or 2 in a patrol, they're both going to get +1 to charge if they don't take the same target.
Yeah. Warlord Trait we're looking as Blood Dancer. Each time this Warlord makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 2 additional attacks. Already to, I think, their base 7, and then you make them bigger. Oh, no, like, yeah, succubuses are going to get retarded in this one. Because, like, I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, I think if you do the math right, it comes out to be about 12 attacks. 2 damage. It's, they're going to be a blender and a half. Yeah. And then for the Relic is the File?
Yep.
The File Banquet?
File Bouquet.
There we go. I bring other people on episodes for a reason. So essentially, it's the Cult of Strife Succubus model only. Roll 1d6 at the start of each battle round. Until the end of the battle round, the bearer gains the associated effect from the Combat Drugs ability table. This effect can be one that the bearer is already affected by and is accumulative. So the thing with Combat Drugs, I'm going to just put it out here because I know we're going to get to it after. What's huge about it is the fact that you no longer have to use every single one before you can use it again. But the other big kicker is if you want to get a little bit gambly, you can start rolling 2d6 and you gain 2 abilities rather than the 1. But with here, this essentially could be giving you a third one, or say if you give them the +1. What's that? Sorry.
No, it's until the end of the battle.
Yeah.
So you get it for each battle round.
Exactly.
Roll, but it happens every battle round.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. Like, say, for example, you need another attack. You already have her the +1 attack. Give her another plus attack for the drug because you can double it up. No, it gets ridiculous. And then for the stratagem, we're looking at no method of death beyond our grasp. So 2 CP. Use a stratagem at the end of your shooting phase or the fight phase. Select one Cult of Strife witch unit from your army. If it is a shooting phase, that unit can shoot again. If it is in the fight phase and the unit is within engagement range of any enemy units, that unit can fight again. You can only use this stratagem once per battle round. 2 CP to fight again? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's probably one of the cheaper fight again strats I've seen.
Doesn't really say that. I'm wondering if that would work like if you consolidated into something else that you didn't declare.
And I was thinking the same thing because it says if that unit is just within engagement range of an enemy, any enemy units. So it says any.
It's the way it's worded that I'm wondering if that could work because you can get up to like a 6-inch consolidate now with the flip belt, but like
I
Do I
know.
just jump in on something and murder it?
If anybody can actually relay to us, again, like I mentioned a little bit earlier on one of the other things, if we're missing something reading here, or if you can actually kind of point out with the exact wording compared to, because again, if you charge, I know this the rules themselves says you cannot attack a unit that you did not declare a charge on. So I'm guessing this is going to say, like, say for example, it's you were already in combat to begin with, and obviously you can flip around and kind of fight whoever because there was no charges declared.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't say anything about it, so we'll kind of leave it up in the air. Maybe let us know in the comments section below if you can actually point out for sure. But if not, you never know.
It'll
Maybe.
probably be errated.
Exactly. There's probably going to be an FAQ just to kind of be
Delete.
like what we
See
need
what
on this. Exactly. Yeah, if you want to take over for the Cursed Blade.
Cult of the Cursed Blade. The obsession is only the strong will thrive. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of models with this obsession. Each time you make an unmodified saving throw of a 6 for a model with this obsession against a melee attack, after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attack, the enemy suffers 1 mortal wound. So that's cool with a 6-up or 6-up invul.
Yeah.
But
No, it's kind of the same. Like I do like the +1 strength, and again with the combat drugs, like I said, where they kind of stack now, kind of thing.
yeah,
Like,
we can boost up a squad, which is pretty good.
oh, hands down. And it's like the unmodified saving throw of a 6 kind of throws it back, and because everything in this is so reliant heavy on mortal wounds now, and you're starting to see more and more ways for units to be able to throw out mortal wounds. If it's not through an attack, like just kind of something different, is you're kind of fishing for the 6s to saves. Because like think about it, like imagine here, you throw a single model. Say you got 1 witch left, you throw it into a unit of like 10 guys. All 10 guys have to attack you back, or if they're all within range. Now, could you imagine, like, okay, you know they're going to die regardless, but in, like, say they're throwing 30 attacks at you, you're still going to go fishing for 6s, and you're still throwing those mortal wounds back because they can't say I'm not going to attack you. It's like, no, you're engagement range. You need to activate and attack me now. So it could be kind of like one of those, just kind of like not a gotcha moment, but it's just be like,
In a
hey,
way that
why not just
put all
throw
your
her
attacks
in
on,
and
yeah.
it's like, come on, hit me with everything you got.
Yeah, let's go. The Warlord Trait, Treacherous Deceiver. Each time you make an unmodified saving throw of a 4-up for this Warlord against a melee attack, after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attack, the enemy suffers 1 mortal wound. This Warlord does not benefit from the second part of the Cursed Blade's abilities, only the strong will thrive obsession. So that's because it happens on a 4-up instead of a 6.
Exactly. But I mean, still, 4-up throwing them back. And again, you throw a succubus into an actual.
In combat, they have a 4-up invul, so as long as it survives, we're good.
Well, exactly. So anytime it saves on anything, you're throwing it right back in their face.
Yeah. That could be potentially scary.
I don't know, it is. And like I said, especially just combined with everything else witches can do in this book, I'm just I'm sorry if I keep getting off track. It's just, man, I'm so excited.
Okay.
Like I'm already playing so many like combos and lists.
Man. I understand. My Drukhari's right here. I'm ready. The relic for the Cursed Blade is Traitor's Embrace. Cult of the Cursed Blade, succubus model only. If the bearer is destroyed by a melee attack, roll a d6 on a 2-up. After the attacking model's unit has finished making its attack, it suffers d3 plus 3 mortal wounds.
Suicide Kamikaze Succubus. You throw her in, you deal as much damage, you die, you just blow up and take more guys with you.
6 mortal wounds on a 2-up.
No. Again, it just makes you want to throw your succubuses just right in the middle of anything. And like I said, if they die, like obviously you don't want them to die.
No, but if it happens, I'm gonna hurt you.
Okay, like put it this way: could you imagine you have a succubus and like 1 witch left, and you're contesting with like say 5 guys on an objective? You throw the succubus in, you know she's gonna die. She blows up. She wipes out that whole entire unit by blowing up, and that one lonely witch is standing there on the objective and is now yours.
And you burn your 2 CP to survive morale, and you're good. For the stratagem, Venomous Shard Bombs. I think this is one of my favorite strats. Use this stratagem after the enemy is declared a charge against the Cursed Blade Witches unit from your army. That unit can fire Overwatch before the charge roll is made. When it does so, up to 5 models in that unit are equipped with plasma grenades, can make attacks with them, and until the end of the phase, plasma grenades this unit is equipped with gain the poison weapon 2 up.
That's ridiculous. Because the poison grenades, I'm assuming, just like anything else, is D6. You got 5d6 wounding on 2s. Like,
still got a hit, but whatever.
Still got a hit, but I mean, like, you're gonna get some.
CP.
Oh, exactly. For 1 CP to be able to dish it out, like I said, as long as you roll decently, like you have a potential of 30 attacks. Potential, like I'm saying, like full on maxed out. So you're looking on average maybe 15, 16 attacks. You're probably gonna get at least 4 or 5 of those going in. But then just the fact doesn't matter what's coming at you, you're wounding it on 2s. That's the huge thing right there. So you're going to be able to take something out, or at least a couple of guys, or at least put some big wounds on a monster coming at you or something.
Yep. The Cult of the Red Grief. The obsession is speed of the kill. You can re-roll charge rolls made for units with this obsession and add 2 to advanced rolls for units with this obsession.
See here, that's going to the reroll charge rolls made for this obsession. Yeah, no. Never mind. I was kind of reading that wrong.
Charge turn 2 or whatever with the power from pain. So.
Exactly. And now just to be able to reroll them, yeah. That's what I was going to say. I'm just like, well, if you wait until turn 2, you get that. But no, it's you get to advance and charge.
Yeah,
but here you gain to reroll
anymore. But Warlord Traits, Hyper Swift Reflexes. Each time a melee attack is made against this Warlord, an unmodified hit roll of 1 to 3 for that attack fails, irrespective of any abilities that weapon or that model making that attack may have.
No,
so she gets a transhuman.
Oh, yeah. And other things are getting it too, which makes me
happy. I love
happy.
How this codex is basically Oprah Winfrey giving us fucking transhumans.
Oh no, it's true. It's just you have a transhuman, you have a transhuman, and
Rax transhuman.
But then
transhuman.
They're giving so much stuff to the characters to keep them alive longer. Because there was nothing worse than you run a succubus, you run an archon, and then they just die. They just die. But here's like they're giving them so many more opportunities to be like, you know what? Try one more time. Just one more time. Go ahead, do it.
For the relic, the blood glaive, she can change her arclight glaive to the following. It's +2 strength, -3 AP, 3 flat. So that's decent.
It's still good, and I think like we mentioned a little bit earlier, when we were going through some stuff that replaced the arclight glaive, is the arclight glaive, if I remember correctly, still is a -1 to hit. Yeah. So you're hitting on 3s, but this takes that penalty away, and you're still dealing that -3 AP. On average, you're going to be strength 5, strength 6, depending on if you give her any drugs, flat 3 damage. Like, that's huge. And again, what I keep saying is with 12 attacks. Could you imagine, like, a succubus running in, maxing out, like, 10 to 12 attacks, dealing 3 damage, and just dead?
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say, just dead.
For the strat, they get Athletic Aerialists. Use this stratagem after a Cult of the Red Grief infantry unit has resolved its close combat attacks, but before it makes consolidation move, instead of consolidating as normal, if every model from that unit is within 6 inches of a Cult of the Red Grief transport unit, they can embark in that transport as if it were the movement phase, even if this unit has disembarked this turn, provided it has enough transport capacity remaining to embark the whole unit.
And that's huge. That's huge because essentially
it really is.
You fly your raider in. You keep it close enough so you drop your guys off like literally within 1 to 2 inches of the unit. Whenever you pile in, don't go too far away from it because, like I said, you still got to stay within that 6 inches. You dish out a crap ton of attacks, kill as much as you can, pop back into the raider, and then. But I mean, don't get me wrong. You still got the 4-up invuln for them to attack you back. But again, is to save more, you just throw them back into the raider and then.
Yeah, and then get wrapped up in their turn and lose them all.
Nonsense. That's when positioning comes in and you do it properly.
Yeah. Get good.
Yeah, and then also here...
the other cults here.
Yeah, so the other cult, so again, same thing, except for here... No, it's still just 2 all-consumings. So the starting one is the Acrobatic Display. Each time a unit with this obsession consolidates or piles in, models in that unit can move horizontally through other models and terrain features, but they cannot finish a move on top of another model or its base. So this, I think, was one that I was trying to say a while ago, where it's like you can actually just literally flip a succubus right in the middle of a unit, and then you just, I think it was the one of was it the Relic or was it like a Warlord trait that just allows you, it was like your basic attacks, but then you add one for every model that's around
Yeah.
you or something like that.
This is a custom cult, so you can't really
True.
use the other cults.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a stratagem, so maybe not.
There might be. We'll get there.
Maybe. We're not there yet. The next one is the Art of Pain. While a unit with this obsession that has the power from pain abilities within engagement range of any enemy units, treat the current battle round number as being one higher when determining the effects of power from pain, which again could be huge.
It's
You
nice.
start
Does
like
you get your advanced and charge turn 1 now?
no, definitely, and like I said, I find with units like that, like because Reaver jet bikes, a lot of times I would take them for that turn one go,
Yeah.
but like here you're waiting to that second turn.
Yeah.
So the next one is an all-consuming Berserker Fugue.
Berserk Fugue.
There we go, close enough. Each time a model with this obsession makes a melee attack, if that model's unit made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores an additional hit. Also, each time a model with this obsession would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll a d6 on a 5-up, that wound is not lost. So it specifically says mortal wound. So you're getting a feel no pain, but you're not going to be able to use it on just a basic attack. It has to be strictly for a mortal wound. But like we said a little bit earlier, you're starting to see a lot more mortal wound outputting on all armies across as these new books are coming out. So this could play a bigger role than you would honestly think first time looking at. Because when I first look at it, I'm like, whatever, it's a 5-up shrug only against mortal wounds. But you start thinking, it's like, well, the amount of things now that are essentially dishing it out. So
the 6's scoring additional hits was the same as before in the Psychic Awakening, but the 5-up Feel No Pain is new. But
so
it
it's an
also
add-on.
wasn't limited to just taking that one before either.
Okay,
You
so
could
it
have
wasn't an
taken
all-consuming. It
this
was
plus
just
another one.
Oh, okay, so that's probably
Because
why
I
it
used to
became
take
all-consuming.
Berserk Few and Test a Skill or Slashing Impact. Those were the ones I would switch between
Okay,
if I went in a custom cult.
gotcha. So next one down is Precise Killers. Each time a model with this obsession makes a melee attack, that attack benefits from the Blade Artisan ability on an unmodified 5 instead of 6s. And like we mentioned earlier, what that does is essentially is on a 5-up now, it'll add +1 to the AP. So even getting down 5s, like that's huge. That's still really good. Next one, so Slashing Impact. Each time a model with this obsession finishes a charge move, you can select one enemy unit, excluding vehicle units, within engagement range and roll 1d6. On a 6, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound.
Yeah,
Can
it's
be...
the same as before.
Yeah. Stimul Invaders. Once per battle, in your command phase, you can declare that unit with this obsession will use their experimental concoctions. When you do so, what's that?
I'm laughing.
I'm used to
This
you
is
guys
me
laughing.
excited.
When you do so, roll 1d3 on the combat drugs table. Every unit with this obsession that has the combat drugs ability gains this additional ability, which is cumulative with any abilities they already have until the end of the turn. So it's a 1 per battle thing, but I mean, man, like the fact that you're already getting choose one of anything or 2 randoms and you start like adding more on is just like, oh, so many buffs just to make them more killy.
Yeah.
Next one down, Test of Skill. Each time a model with this obsession makes a melee attack that targets a monster or vehicle unit, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. Which again, I find that was the one thing with witches, is just because again, they're only strength 3. So a lot of times you're only wounding stuff on 6s, if you're lucky 5s, depending on what kind of combat drugs you give them. But if you're gonna add like 1, then hey, you could be potentially on 5 or on 4, or 5.
Now they did update this from Psychic Awakening, because in Psychic Awakening it had to be over 10 wounds in order to get that.
Oh, so now it's literally just monster vehicle, no restriction. Okay, nice.
You had to have a wounds characteristic over. It was just one of those second abilities you used to take just to have it, because in case they brought a tank.
Exactly. Next one down, Trophy Takers. Each time a morale test is taken for an enemy unit that has any models destroyed by a melee attack made by a unit with this obsession, roll 1 additional d6 and discard the lowest result. Again, could be really good for, like I said, just making the extra guys run.
Same as the old one. The only new one here, Agile Hunters, wasn't in Psychic Awakening.
Okay, and this is also their other all-consuming. So each time a model with this obsession makes an attack that targets a unit that can fly, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. So again, or no, it doesn't
Can't
specifically say
accumulate with the other one,
aircrafts. Yeah. But then if a unit with this obsession with the combat drugs ability has the Hypex ability, add 4 inches to the unit's move characteristic of a set of 3. Which again could be good. Like I said, imagine throwing that on just like Hellions. And by all God, Hellions. My 20 Hellions are finally going to see some play. But
right,
but again, like there's a lot like and maybe it's just the way I play. Like I'm obviously going to be testing a lot of these out, but a lot of times at the end of the day, it's myself personally. I don't see myself taking these over Cult of Strife or Cursed Blade or anything like that. Like it's just having those extra abilities, like because like some of the Warlord traits and some of the relics are just so good in those other ones that it almost that alone makes you not want to take the custom stuff. But again, it's just still fun to play with. But so pretty much right now with the episode, we're already at the hour mark, and honestly, I could just keep going, but we're gonna be good for now. So essentially, we'll pick up in the next episode from Homunculus Coven stuff, and then from there, we should have more than enough time to finish the episode off. So we'll make Brian wait a little bit longer just to see what they did with his Prophets of Flesh and all the other stuff. But for now, so we'll end it here at the Witch Cult stuff, and until the next episode, have a good night.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.